Teammates, the higher you go up the flagpole, the more your asbestos is exposed. What does that mean? You know, one of the most despicable things in life is to be incompetent. Now, I want you to listen to me carefully. I hear a lot of people talk about they want to be promoted. I hear a lot of people talk about where they should be. But what I don't see a lot of people talking about is the dog attitude you got to have to be competent. You know, I see a lot of people walk around with rank, badges, and accolades. But boy, I tell you, none of that stuff matters if you're incompetent. You know, my father used to say to me, nobody remembers yesterday's heroes. I'm going to say that again. Nobody remembers yesterday's heroes. You see, you're only good as your last school. You're only good as your last degree. You're only good as your last duty station. You're only good as your last boss. You see, if you're not willing to put in the time and the effort to hone in and perfect your craft, nobody really cares about your resume. Nobody really cares about your ERB or your ORB. You see, people want to see evidence in front of them. People want to see manifestation of that competence that you purport. The biggest mistake for most human beings is they rely on their past accomplishments. This is a categorical mistake because most of the time the people you are presently with only see your resume and your past accomplishments, but you have to continually prove yourself. I know that's a bad word in most circles. People say I'm tired of proving myself. Well, you have been proven to be wrong because it doesn't matter who you are, what your resume says. You have to prove yourself time and time again. The resumes are most assuredly impressive. The badges, the whistles, the hoopla, the schools, impressive. But at the end of the day, they mean nothing at this present situation because you're being evaluated now. You're being judged now. You're being weighed now. I know people don't like that because you think you should ride in on your horse on your past accomplishments. But let me tell you something. We all have to prove ourselves at every level. It shouldn't be hard because if you have the requisite education, the requisite pass, and you've been doing this for so long, the new situation you're in will just be a readily smooth transition because you have the basics and the foundations. But the higher you go up the flagpole, the more your asbestos is exposed. You see, most of us have been shortcutting our whole career. And then you run into somebody who actually knows what you're supposed to be doing and is evaluating you on what you're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden you call that person toxic. You call that person a bad leader. You say that person, oh, everybody else said I was good, but now I get to you, is something wrong with you? Well, that's not always the case. Most of the time, those other persons let you get away with a lot of stuff. And when somebody comes in to hold you to a standard, now you're a little butthurt. What's my point here? Not to belabor the point. You know, my point is your competence, your work ethic, and who you are as a human being is attached to your name. Your mother and your father fought hard for you to wear that name. And if they fought that hard for you to wear that name, and your children wear that name, and your wife or your husband wears that name. You see, I think you owe a bit of reverence to those people who are in your life, who are depending on you. The problem is most of us are so selfish. Most of us are narcissistic. And most of us are always looking at me, 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 me. You see, if you're just working for you, when it's time for you to bare knuckle, when it's time for you to get it out the mud, when it's time for you to say, you know what, I do have some shortcomings. Maybe I do need to learn to be a little better. You just start whining and crying and, think everybody's against you. Well, no, people are not against you. They're against you not doing your job, not doing what you're supposed to do, not being who your resume says you are capable of being. You see, that resume is a potential. Yes, it's your past, but it's your potential to go to the next level. I'll end here because I have beat a dead horse. But I'll say this. Nobody cares about yesterday's heroes. When Muhammad Ali walked in the room, when he was champion, everybody cared about Muhammad Ali and they forgot Sonny Liston. But after Muhammad Ali lost the title, he could be sitting in the room and Mike Tyson walk in and all the kids walk up to Mike Tyson because he's the hero on the scene. Nobody remembers yesterday's heroes. You should tighten up because you got an opportunity to be a hero right here, right now. And if you ain't willing to work for what you want, don't cry about what you lost. Hey, have a great night. Have a great night.